In 1963, a young psychologist named Marshall Rosenberg was studying why some people grew up to be violent, while others stayed compassionate under the exact same conditions. The answer he found was not in their childhood or their genes. It was in the words they used. Rosenberg spent the next 40 years teaching his discovery in conflict zones, prisons, and families across 60 countries. He called it nonviolent communication. Most of us learned to communication patterns that do not work. Attack, we aim at the person's character, and they immediately go into defense mode and stop hearing us. Or suppress, we swallow the frustration, say it's fine, and let it accumulate until it explodes. Rosenberg found a third path. One that is honest and still keeps the other person open. Nonviolent communication is not soft. It is not about being nice. It is a precision instrument for getting your real needs heard. If you want more frameworks that actually change how you communicate, subscribe to Tatveda right now. The subscribe button is right below this video. The framework has 4 components. Observation: what are the camera facts with zero evaluation? Feeling: what are you actually experiencing emotionally? Need: what universal human need is not being met? And request: a concrete, specific ask that the other person can say yes or no to. That is the full structure. Step 1 is observation. An observation is what a camera would record. The moment you say always or never, you have left observation territory and entered evaluation. The other person will immediately find one exception, the one time they did help, and now you are arguing about frequency instead of the actual problem. A camera fact gives them nothing to argue with. Step 2 is feeling. Here is the test. If you can replace I feel with I think, and the sentence still makes sense, it is not a feeling. It is a thought. I feel like you do not care, swap to I think you do not care, still works. That is a judgment disguised as a feeling. I feel overwhelmed, try swapping to I think overwhelmed. That breaks. That is an actual feeling. Real feelings do not point at the other person. Step 3 is need. Every emotion is a signal pointing toward an unmet human need. Safety, autonomy, respect, connection, fairness. These are universal, every person on earth has them. When you name your need instead of attacking behavior, something shifts. The other person stops feeling accused of being bad and starts hearing that you are a human being with a legitimate need that is not being met. Step 4 is request. A genuine request is concrete, specific, and negotiable. The other person can say yes, no, or propose something different. The test for a demand disguised as a request is simple. Is no allowed? If saying no carries punishment, guilt, or resentment from you, it was never a request. It was a demand with polite packaging. Put it together. Instead of saying you never help around here, you say, I noticed the dishes from 3 meals are still in the sink. I feel overwhelmed and a little resentful. I need us to share household work fairly. Would you take the dishes on nights I cook, or can we figure out a system that works for both of us? Sane frustration. Complete honesty. But delivered in a way that invites connection instead of combat. The framework is not just intuition. Studies on couples trained in nonviolent communication show 80% reported significant reduction in destructive conflict within 8 weeks. Rosenberg taught this method in over 60 countries, from genocide reconciliation programs in Rwanda to family therapy clinics in California. The foundation holds across all cultures, because human needs are universal. 3 pitfalls every beginner hits. First, mechanical delivery. If you recite the 4 steps word for word, it sounds scripted and the other person shuts down. Learn the structure, then translate it into your natural voice. Second, fake feelings. The moment you say "I feel that," the word "that" is a warning sign that a judgment follows. Third, covert demands. If no is not genuinely okay with you, you owe them honesty about that instead of packaging a demand as a request. Marshall Rosenberg's deepest insight was this: when someone attacks you, they are expressing an unmet need in the most tragic possible way. When you attack someone else, so are you. The 4 steps of NVC are not a communication technique. They are a way of seeing the human need underneath every conflict. This week, take one real conversation that has been uncomfortable and run it through the 4 steps before you have it. Notice the observations, feel the feelings, praise the need, form a genuine request. If this changed how you see communication, give it a like. It genuinely helps this channel reach more people. Subscribe to Tatveda and share this with someone who needs to hear it. The next episode covers the 4 most destructive communication patterns Gottman identified in relationships. You will want to know all 4.